Okay, good evening and welcome to Iyun with Benzion, Yevamos, Iyun number 10. We're going to discuss juicy machlokas. If you didn't have any juicy meat at your Sudas Purim because you were drunk and you were vomiting, uh, now is the time to have some juicy lumdus because you missed out on your steak during your Purim Suda. I'm sorry about that, but don't drink too much next time or drink after the main course. All right. Enough jokes aside, you like to joke on Purim? I don't know, they tell me I'm not allowed to joke around because it has to be serious. As you know, I'm dressed as a farmer, of course. Check me out. An upcoming video about what really went down on my side of the world in Purim as a farmer. About Ikar, Lolafaki Klal, farmer, don't have anything to worry about, especially in Israel, even during Shemitah. Nothing to worry about. Alright, the Gemara has a juicy macholkas in Riyach and Reish Lakish about a certain case. What is the case? The case is, let's say you have 5 brothers, for example, and one of the brothers is married, and he's married to maybe more than one wife, 2 wives, let's say. He dies without children, right? He dies without children. So now his wife becomes a Yevama for 4 brothers, and she has a sorrow also, more sorrow, at least one sorrow. She has a rival wife. Now they all fall in front of the Achim. Now the law is that only one brother has to do Chalitz or Yibum. And once he does Chalitz or Yibum, the rest of Achim, there's no more Chalitz or Yibum. He either does it or not. So that's his option. Usually you start from the Gadol, oldest brother. So he does Chalitza. This is the case. The Gemara in the middle of Yudam and Beis says, Itmar. Where are we? Itmar. Itmar. Achol it's towards the top. About 10 lines from the top. Achol is even the Bechaz of a Kidja. He did Chalitza the Yavama, and then when he was Makadish, or now he wants the Nisuin, Kedushin is just giving her the ring. He wants to actually marry her and be Boal her. Amar Ishlak Jueinu Chayav al Achutza Kares. Va'achin Chayav al Achutza Kares al Asara ben Hu Achin Chayav al Asara Kares. Shlakish says there's an Isser Lav, right? We know in the Torah it says Asher Lo Yivna as Beis Echel. It says Asher Lo Yivna, doesn't say Asher Lo Bana as Beis Echel. Asher Lo Yivna. The Torah is teaching Yivna in the future, telling me that once you do Chalitza, you decide to do Chalitza, and you break that connection to your brother's house. You don't build his house by marrying his wife and having a child for him. So therefore, you can't Shuv Lo Yivna. You can't build it again. That's a lav in the Torah. The Torah tells you it's not a kares like you might think. It's a lav. Now, this basically goes back to the fundamental question over here by how Yibum works. And we really have ignored this for a long time. This is really the center of the Masechta. First Mishnah talked about Esei Docha Lo Shishbo Kares, but there's another Isser Kares over here, Eishes Ach Shalom Makom Mitzvah. Your brother's wife, you can't marry her, right? That's a Kares. You can't marry your brother's wife. Now, even if he dies, your brother's wife, you can't marry her. But if he dies without children and you share a father with your brother, and not maternal brothers, your paternal brothers, so then there's a mitzvah of Yibum. Yevamo Yavo Aleha, the mitzvah, and there's no Isser Eishazach. So the fundamental question is, like we have already concluded in the Gemara, the ain't Esei Docha Lo Shishbo Kares. Eishazach is an Isser of Kares. So how does the mitzvah of Yibum Esei push away the Kares of Eishazach, a Makom Mitzvah? How does that work? What's going on over here? So I saw over here in footnote number 21, 10b3, a little explanation into what's the Machlokas Riyach and Shlakish. They suggest 2 different ways of learning the way a regular case of Yibum works to matter the Eishasach. One way is explained in the Tosos based on a Birka Shmuel. Baruch Ber Leibowitz has an explanation that really, seemingly, that's like the Chuya. Eishasach is sort of the Chuya. The other explanation, I think, is one Kovitz Aros, which is Rochana Wasserman. He seems to say that both Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish agree that it's Hutra or Lo Nemra, meaning it's considered unconditional heter. I mean, it does say in the Torah, it says that, Hashem at Har Sinai, the same breath he said, Eishasach, he says, Yevamo Yavo Allah. So it sounds like Hutra from over there. It's very difficult to explain like this Birka Shmuel that it's the Chuya, both according to Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan, because If it's the chuya, then it's the same thing as esay docha lo tishbo kares. It's essay. That was the problem of all the 15 arayos in the Mishnah. Esay docha lo tishbo kares. Same thing. Esay docha lo tishbo kares. It must be like Rashi says that at the same time Hashem said, he mattered it, right? He mattered it. He mattered the Isra of Eishasach. There's no Isra of Eishasach. B'makom mitzvah, when there's a mitzvah, when he died, when he's your paternal brother and he dies without any kids, there's a mitzvah. But shalom b'makom mitzvah, it's kares. So it's mutter in that case. So we're going to see that's Reish Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan says, Amar Beinu ben Achen Einon Chav and La Lachluza Kares Al Chatzara Kares. And then where's my time Reish Lakish? Bring the pasuk. Iyun the Kai B'lo Yivna Al Achav Time Kai B'Al Adida Hu the Kai B'lo Yivna I started the Time Kai. Rabbi Yochanan says Mika Midi Mikara Yibaya Chali Kit. It doesn't make, like, logically doesn't make sense. Ella Iyush Lichusa the Achem Kavit Ish Lichusa the Saraka Avda. Rabbi Yochanan argues in Reish Lakish. He says that there's no more Eishazach anymore. Shalom Malkum Mitzvah. No more Kares. It's only Lav. For if he wants to marry her, he did Chalitza and now he did Kedushin, he wants to marry her, he'll be over a Lav. If the brothers go ahead and want to marry this woman, or the Sarah, or he wants to marry the Sarah, it's only going to be a Lav according to Rabbi Yochanan. According to Reish Lakish, only him, if he does Partiz after the Kedushin, does things too, and he'll be Chayav a Lav. Everyone, if he does it for the Sarah, he'll be Chayav Kares, and any of the brothers do on this wife or on the Sarah, they'll be Chayav Kares. Now, I want to focus on why the Lashon of Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish has a case. The case is Choletz v'Kidsha. What is Choletz v'Yevimta v'Chazer v'Kidsha? Why do we have to say v'Chazer v'Kidsha? No one talks about this. Why does he have to be? He went ahead and he betrothed her. He married her again. Why is that important over here? The whole idea over here is once you do Chalitza, this is the way they explain. Once you do Chalitza, so therefore, according to Rabbi Yochanan, this is I'm going to explain it the way the Kovetz Aharon explained Rabbi Yochanan. It makes a lot more sense. The Hutra is that according to Rabbi Yochanan, it matters the whole thing. It matters the whole Eishazach. It's considered Eishazach Shalom B'Makom Mitzvah. Once he acts on that, it's already considered Eishazach Shalom B'Makom Mitzvah. So when the person does Chalitza, so then it's just dissolving the Eishazach Shalom B'Makom Mitzvah. It's Eishazach B'Makom Mitzvah. He's dissolving the situation. And now it turns for everyone, Asher Lo Yivna, Kevin Shalom Shalo Yivna. Reish Lakish holds, no, it's like Breira. It's sort of like Lamafrei. Afterwards, retroactively, we realized, no, the person who fulfilled, who was called B'Makom Mitzvah, was only the brother who did Chalitza. The other brothers are not called B'Makom Mitzvah, they're called Shalom B'Makom Mitzvah. You don't need that Chazer v'Kidsha. Once the person does Chalitza, that's already going to tell me whether Lamafreya, we say it's called Eishazach Shalom B'Makom Mitzvah, or according to Rabbi Yochanan, there's no more. It was always Eishazach B'Makom Mitzvah, and there's no more case of Eishazach Shalom B'Makom Mitzvah. The reason I believe it says Kidsha over here is that I don't think it's either. It's Hutra exactly like that. The reason is that because he goes into Mekadesh, why doesn't he figure in Mekadesh? Because he's Mekadesh, we know that Kiddushin makes you an Eish. It makes you an Eish. So that's what they're discussing over here, that according to Reish Lakish, he was Choletzer. So therefore it was Eish Zach B'Makom Mitzvah. And then, only because he was Mekadesh her again, then it became his wife, and that's Eish Zach Shalom B'Makom Mitzvah. He took over this wife. He did Chalitza, and he's Mekadesh. So you're not allowed to Mekadesh, you're not allowed to Mekadesh Chalutza, but as a law, but he did it anyway. So it works technically, and he's Mekudesh, and she's an Eishes Ish, and now it becomes Eish Shalom B'Makom Mitzvah. It becomes it's Choser V'Neir, invigorates Eish Shalom B'Makom Mitzvah. According to Rabbi Yochanan, that's not true. Even if he's Mekadesh, according to Rabbi Yochanan, that's not close. If he's Mekadesh, once you have everyone, Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan, both of you, it's not retroactive, it's not Breira according to Reish Lakish. It's because he was Choser Mekadsha, right? Once he did Chalitza, it dissolves. It was already Eish B'Makom Mitzvah. He did Chalitza. Of course, there's no more. It was Eish B'Makom Mitzvah. But when you go ahead and read Mekadesh, that makes it Eish B'Makom Mitzvah, and there it's Shayach Nisra of Kares according to Reish Lakish. According to Rabbi Yochanan, it never goes back. Even in Mekadesh, it never goes back to Eish B'Makom Mitzvah. See you tomorrow.